When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
This episode is brought to you by NBA on Prime. This Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern, it's the Emirates NBA Cup Championship game on Prime. This year's quest for the Cup has been building to this, the championship game, live from Las Vegas. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to get started today. The Emirates NBA Cup Championship game, this Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern, only on Prime. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
2 months to go, and the flame is lit, and more names added to Team GB. We're moving on to Milano Cortina, the Winter Olympics and Paralympics. I'm John.
And I'm Michael. This is Anything But Footy, talking about the Olympics and the Paralympics all the time, not just once every 4 years.
And the first torch for Milano Cortina is now alight.
We have a special report from Greece as the flame starts its journey to the San Siro Stadium in Milan and the opening ceremony on Friday, February 6.
And Team GB have named some more athletes for the Olympic Winter Games. Britain will field a full 8-strong team of figure skaters.
Michael Weddock's Winter Wonders.
Michael will be rounding up the rest of the news from the Winter Games. This is Anything But Footy. Stay in touch with us with all our socials at any time. Our latest blogs on our website as well, anythingbutfooty.com.
Hi, I'm Eve Muirhead. I'm Chef de Mission. You're listening to Anything But Footy with the latest on the Winter Olympics.
So less than 2 months to go to Milano Cortina Winter Olympics. We'll be there. Michael booking his flights and accommodation this week. Although, Michael, someone told me this week that they had their Airbnb cancelled in Cortina. So they're now scrabbling around for because they wanted more money. So they're now scrabbling around for a bit more accommodation. They will be out watching the snow sports. So just be aware of that.
That happened for me in Rio, as you recall.
So, yeah, let's keep everything crossed on that. Of course, we'll have daily updates from the games, which, as I say, is now less than 2 months away. But will the NHL stars of ice hockey be there? We know they're back for the first time in 10 years, but some controversy this week that the Olympic ice hockey arena in Milan, yes, the one being specially built for the games, and when I was there a couple of months ago, wasn't ready. It's still not ready, and a test event has been postponed until next month. Yes, January 2026, with the games starting in February 2026. But don't worry, it's the Italians. Everything will be fine. Also, the revelation that the Canadian ice hockey team saying the rink is smaller than the usual NHL ice rink. So I woke up one day this week and heard Radio 4 saying that there was huge concerns that the ice hockey wouldn't take place. And then dug into the story just a little bit more. And Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly of the NHL said that after a meeting on Monday, progress is being made. He doesn't think it is insurmountable. And he also said if the ice is unsafe, which was the big headline on the BBC this week, that they won't play, he said, I'm really not concerned about that. So there are calls in America as well to bring the ice hockey back to North America, like they own it or something. I'm pretty sure that Finland are the reigning champions, by the way, in the men's ice hockey tournament. Anyway, organisers at Milano Cortina are confident it will be ready and famously saying they have no backup. We do like a will they, won't they Olympic story, don't we, Michael?
Yeah, we always get them as well, don't we? I mean, the Velodrome in Rio, that was a will they, won't they? They were sort of sellotaping it together the day before competition started. It happens. It's this little news vacuum that we often talk about that you get before the games. I think what we need to do for this is we need to speak to our colleagues in the States on the Keep the Flame Alive podcast. And we need to find out from those guys Jill and Alison, who we've spoken to before. We need to find out from those guys what's being reported about this stateside. And I think we'll get a very well-informed steer from them about how they feel the hockey will go at Milano Cortina.
Yeah, stand by for that before Christmas. We will be catching up with them and we'll get more details for you.
So I mentioned, of course, as we look ahead to this Olympic Winter Games, we've got a full 8-strong team of figure skaters heading to Milano Cortina. Named by Team GB this week, they are led by the Beijing 2022 Olympians Lewis Gibson and Lilah. They have got a brilliant routine and some great costumes as well. A nod to their Scottish heritage with the tartan costumes as well. They are world bronze medalists, of course, and they've just won bronze in the Grand Prix final as well. So if we are thinking that we might win a figure skating medal for the first time since Lillehammer 1994, when Torvill and Dean were robbed of the gold and won the bronze, and 41 years on from Bolero and Sarajevo and all of that, you really need to watch Lewis Gibson and Lilah. And what I think is brilliant, and I've said this about the pair of them before, is they don't shy away from the Torvill and Dean comparisons. You could be forgiven for thinking, if you were in their position, the last thing you'd want to hear is Torvill and Dean. But actually, they've toured with them. They were part of the Torvill and Dean farewell show. They embrace it and they think it's fantastic. And as we said in one of our recent episodes, if they were to go on and win a medal at the Olympic Games in figure skating, I think it would be absolutely huge. And this is the perfect time of year because everyone is going figure skating at the minute. I took my kids to the Christmas markets in Newcastle and we went figure skating. It was packed. You have to book your hour slot. You have to book them months in advance. So this is a sport that lots of people do. There's good grassroots, there's big mass participation. And I just think an Olympic medal, 31 years on from Lillehammer, 41 years on from Sarajevo, would be a bit of a game changer. So yeah, really looking forward. And as you said, I'm in Milan, so I'm going to be there for Lewis and Lilah. The rest of the team, incidentally, so Lewis and Lilah are both in the ice dance, and we've actually got 2 ice dance pairs. So the other pair is Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez, who we heard from in a recent episode of the podcast. Now we've got a pairs as well, Anastasia Vaipan-Law, and she will be lining up alongside Luke Digby. And let's hear from them.
Hi, my name's Luke Digby and I'm super excited to represent Team GB in figure skating.
Hi, I'm Anastasia Vaipan-Law and I'm also super excited to be representing Great Britain in figure skating.
What are your earliest Olympic memories, Luke?
I'd say from a summer perspective, the 2012 Olympics, obviously being in London, that was super incredible. And then on a stage of winter, the 2014 Winter Olympics, I remember watching it in the Rink Cafe and just being super inspired.
Was the Olympics something that you always thought of, hoped about, dreamed about, Anna?
Yeah, for sure. I'm all the way to the start of my career, really. I just remember the word Olympics being flung about, being like, are you going to go to the Olympics? All the time. And it was something I was like, oh, actually, I'd like to go there. And then obviously when it got to about 2014 and I was watching it live and it just was like, yeah, 100%, that's something I would like to do.
What is it about the Olympic Games that is so special?
I think it's the pinnacle for most sports, and for me it's just the exclusivity of it. You're one of a number of athletes representing your whole country from all the people, and yeah, just to achieve it is just a lifelong goal.
Is it something you think about kind of every day, what it would be like to be there?
Pretty much. I feel like it's been at the forefront of my mind for the last 17, 18 years of skating, to be honest. But yeah, it's just that dream, isn't it, at the end of the day? And that's what we work hard towards day in, day out at training. So, yeah.
You talked, Luke, about 2012. There was a big figure skating event in the UK in 2012, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I wonder whether I saw you, because I was there in Sheffield for that, and you were there too.
Yeah, correct. I am from Sheffield. That is my hometown. Looked quite a bit younger back then. I was probably sort of about 10, 11, 12 years old, and I actually volunteered as a flower boy, where you go on the ice and you pick up all the teddies, flowers, gifts for the skaters. And yeah, I remember being super inspired from that major event in my hometown.
And it's coming back, of course, and it will be on the eve of the Olympics. How exciting is that after what was a terrific European Championships for you guys last year?
Yeah, I mean, European Championship is such a superior event, and to be able to have it being hosting our home country is just incredible. And obviously more to the fact that it is Luke's hometown, I think all these special things behind it just makes it all that more exciting. And I think being able to perform in front of family and friends, but then also, educating all the British people around us watching figure skating for the first time in a long time is going to be very exciting.
I know tickets are on sale. Many of those heading their way to the Digby family addresses around the Still City.
Yeah, for sure. Tickets on sale, and already organised and got all my tickets for friends and family. So all reserved, all sorted.
Let's just reflect on last season. I said terrific Europeans for you. Was it a breakthrough season? Is that the way to describe it?
Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. I think over the last few years we'd been building, but not really getting to the point where we had that breakthrough, whereas last season, with our performances, almost every competition improving our personal best scores, so certainly a breakthrough last season.
And are you okay? Because you had a bit of a nasty fall, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a slip, you could say.
Yeah.
It was a bit slippy that day. But no, absolutely fine. I mean, for us, it was obviously a surprise, but you just got to pick yourself up and realize that, we trained so hard and we trained so regularly with these elements that we had the trust in it to be able to get up and trust each other, make sure everything is all good, we're safe and sound, and we were absolutely fine. So these things are just about staying mentally focused and keeping the support around you.
And what are you looking for as a pair? What are you hoping to come back and have done?
To perform our best. I think that's always what every athlete hopes for. But yeah, certainly to perform your best on the biggest stage possible would be a dream come true. So we're fully focused on making sure we're as prepared as possible for that.
This is Anything But Footy. So that is Anastasia and Luke, who have been selected by Team GB in the pairs for the figure skating. Luke is from Sheffield, as we were hearing there. Anastasia is originally from Blackpool. But we've also got in the women's singles, Christian Spurs from Woking, who's going to be making her Olympic debut. And perhaps the surprise name on the team is Edward Appleby. And Edward has been selected. He's obviously a men's singles skater, but he's been selected because Great Britain have qualified in the team event as well. So that's fantastic that there's a team of 8 going to be representing Team GB. They're going to be in Milan. There's high hopes at least for one medal with Lilah and Lewis, and we're looking forward to seeing the others and how they get on and their performances.
And it's the biggest Olympic figure skating team for Great Britain since 1988. Of course, Calgary, and of course, the famous games where Eddie the Eagle Edwards was probably our biggest star at that point. We've come a long way, it feels, from Eddie the Eagle Edwards. No disrespect for him, but it does feel like, as you say, with Lilah and Lewis, we've got medal potential, but we've also got some great young athletes coming through, like Anastasia and Luke. And you said you're going to be watching Lewis and Lilah. We will be there for the pairs as well. I'll definitely be there for the pairs. Got tickets for those, cost a fortune, let me tell you. But we'll be looking forward to seeing that.
I've got a pass that gets me in free. Should have mentioned it.
So have I, but I'm bringing the family. So we're going to see. Right. We're going to see ice skating, and I think you're right that it feels like it's changed. Everyone does it now. That's the thing. There are so many. Okay, it may be only there for a month across the country, but there are so many rinks that people can jump on ice, can't they?
Yeah, I think obviously after Torvill and Dean, and that followed in the wake of Robin Cousins and Curry. There was this sort of rich heritage around figure skating in the country, and it was obviously massive on television. Do you remember?
But there was only ever Nottingham and Sheffield. There was only and London. There was only those rinks. They weren't world. I suppose there were a few more in cities. I remember going myself as a kid in Birmingham.
Richmond I remember in West London was the one that we went to.
There weren't vast opportunities, was there?
Yeah, I think there was more some of the municipal rinks. So, here in the northeast of England, we've got one in Billingham, of course, which, they share kind of with the ice hockey team. I remember when I lived in Coventry, it was the same there. That's always the problem, of course, is ice time. So you've often got an ice hockey team that are playing. Obviously, you've maybe got figure skaters with elite ambitions. And then you've got the money spinning ones, which is getting people in for the ice discos and all the rest of it. I remember going to ice skating parties, as a kid. We do have now a lot of these city centre ice rinks that pop up, and I mentioned the one in Newcastle. There's lots of them across the country. I mentioned Billingham, which is the one near me, which is where like my girls, can go regularly and do some figure skating. So I do feel that it is just something, and that a lot of people now can access. As you say, it might just be for 5-6 weeks of the year, but there's a chance to go and do that, which there isn't with a lot of other Olympic and Paralympic sports. But the main thing I took from it was just the joy on everybody's faces, actually. And having spent a bit of time, we heard there from Luke and Anastasia that we interviewed. We will hear from Lewis and Lilah in a future edition of the podcast. We spoke to Phoebe and James as well on a recent edition. They absolutely seemingly love and adore what they do. And then when I was watching, the guys going around in the centre of Newcastle, the grins on the faces was just brilliant. And I just think that's kind of what it's about. And if Lilah and Lewis can get on that podium, they won a bronze medal at the World Championships. So we're not overreaching when we say it's a real potential medal for Team GB. I think that will inspire a lot of people to go out and try and seek these local rinks.
And as we've mentioned, the European Championships back in the country as well for the first time in many, many decades in January 2026 in Sheffield. So again, there's momentum, there's things moving, and sport is often quite secular, isn't it? That it can come back. You had that huge triumph, as you say, the Curry Cousins and Torvill and Dean era. Now we could be in for another ice dance era. We will wait and see. We won't put too much pressure on them, but congratulations to all selected for Team GB, adding to the 10 men and women curlers already confirmed earlier this year. We'll have more to come in the weeks and months to come, so stay with us on Anything But Footy. We'll bring you the details. Now, the games really aren't that far away. As mentioned, the first back on European time zone for 20 years, and the first for new IOC President Kirsty Coventry, who was in Greece last month for the official lighting of the flame, her very first, and the Olympic historian and journalist Phil Barker, and friend of the pod, was there in Olympia too to watch it all happen.
Bringing people together in peaceful competition, in friendship and in respect. And as we light the Olympic flame from Milano Cortina, we will carry this light from the past to the present and continue it into the future. And it's a shared future that we all want to see.
Aretan Simon Lavin, ton them mochson, abnoan.
Now the great moment is almost at hand. Mary Mina, the High Priestess, has invoked Apollo. You have sent the light from Olympia, lit 2 days ago from the rays of the sun. The flame now burns in a special torch, and the first torch for Milano Cortina is now alight. And the relay can truly begin.
The flame we light today carries not just the hopes of the athletes, but the dreams of all of those who believe in the power of sport. And that power of sport unites us and it inspires us.
The Olympic flame is now on its way to Milano Cortina for the 2026 Winter Games. The first torchbearer was rowing bronze medalist from Paris 2024, Petro Gazzadis, and he was joined by Stefania Belmondo, the cross-country skier who lit the final cauldron the last time the Winter Olympics were held in Italy, almost 20 years ago in Torino. The ceremony was held indoors, inside the Archaeological Museum, because the weather forecast was so poor that organisers decided it could not take place, as is normally the custom, at the ancient stadium. The flame itself, though, was kindled from the rays of the sun by High Priestess Mary Mina, and then conserved in a special lantern. It will spend over a week on Greek soil, and then be formally handed over to the Italian organisers in a special ceremony at the Panathinaikos Stadium in Athens. And on December the 6th, it begins a 63-day journey across Italy to the opening ceremony at the San Siro in Milan on February the 6th. The Flame has been to Milan before. That was in 1948 on its part of its journey to the London Olympics. And in 1956, when Cortina d'Ampezzo staged the Winter Olympics, there was also a torch relay, but only within the confines of Italy. It was lit in Rome, and curiously, bearing in mind what had happened with Milano Cortina, inside, at the Capitol building in Rome. It was then carried to Venice and then up into the mountains to start the games. There is one question that probably won't be resolved until much, much later. Who will light the final cauldron at the San Siro Stadium? For the moment, that is a closely guarded secret.
So that is Phil Barker at the lighting of the Olympic flame ahead of Milano Cortina 2026. You said weeks, months to go. I mean, months, yes, just about. I would definitely be putting it in the weeks to go category now.
Yeah, we're not that far away, about 50 odd days away.
Hi, I'm Lilah Fear.
And I'm Lewis Gibson, and you're listening to Anything But Footy,
with the latest on the Winter Olympics.
And our latest news from the Games is coming up.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Anything But Footy. We talk about the Olympics and the Paralympics all the time, not just once every 4 years. We're looking forward to an Olympic Paralympic Games, and there'll be some athletes being named over the next couple of weeks, which we're looking forward to talking to. And we are, of course, looking forward to the Olympic Winter Games as well.
Michael Weddock's Winter Wonders.
High hopes for Team GB medals, certainly after some recent performances on the snow. I can tell you that Mia Brooks won gold in a World Cup event in the Big Air in Beijing. Mia is a snowboarder. Kirsty Muir, who's a freestyle skier, she won a gold medal as well, her first ever Big Air podium too. And Gus Kenworthy, who's aiming for a fourth Olympic Games, having seemingly retired after Beijing, took part in a comeback event in the men's freestyle snow league, and finished third in that as well. And you can hear from the likes of Gus and Kirsty on our recent series of Anything But Footy, together with GB Snow Sports. So go back and find those, and you can hear more from the guys. I should mention, away from the snow, on the ice, we've just had the European Curling Championships as well. Team Morrison, which is the women's team, they won a silver medal. And Team Mert, which is the men's team, won the bronze. That is their sixth consecutive European Championships medal.
I wonder what Team GB sponsors Aldi think of Team Morrison.
Could have been worse, Team Lidl.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, in other news from the Games, away from the winter, although it could be in the Winter Games programme in the future. A 40-strong squad of senior and under-23s and under-20 athletes from British Athletics are heading to Portugal this weekend for the 2025 European Cross-Country Championships, one of the highlights of the winter in athletics. Trial winners Scott Beattie and Carrie Hughes lead the entries for the Novona GB and Northern Ireland team after brilliant runs in Liverpool at the trials. Megan Keith also joins the senior women's squad.
Staying with athletics, multiple Olympic, world and European champion pole vaulter Mondo Duplantis, he's got a couple of world records to his name as well, will return to the London Stadium for the first time since 2018. He's going to be competing at the Novuna London Athletics meet on Saturday the 18th of July, so basically the Diamond League meeting for London in 2026. And I'm sure this one hasn't passed you by as well. Alex Yee, the gold medal winning triathlete, has become the second fastest British marathon runner of all time, behind Sir Mo Farah. He finished 7th in the Valencia Marathon in a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes and 38 seconds.
When's he getting back to swimming and cycling? That's what I want to know. At the European Para Table Tennis Championships in Sweden, 15-year-old Bly Twomey won her first major title in the women's Class 7 singles, beating the defending champion in the final as well. Rob Davis won his 5th European singles title in men's Class 1.
And just before we finish, a couple of other bits. Paris 2024 silver medalist Caden Cunningham won bronze in the men's Taekwondo World Championships in China. He's in the plus 87 kilogram category, by the way. It's actually the heavyweight's first world medal of his career. Lauren Williams also won a world medal, a bronze in the women's heavyweight division. And in shooting, Shona McIntosh has won a silver medal at the World Cup final in Doha in the 50-meter three positions.
As Michael said, we talk about the Olympics and Paralympics all the time. We are focused on the Winter Games, but keeping an eye on the summer because LA is not that far away, as we know. Check out our socials all times, anything but footy in the usual places. The latest blogs on the website, anythingbutfooty.com. And Michael's gearing up for the opening ceremony in the San Siro with the Spotify Olympic music playlist, which you can check out too. And stay with us. We are moving on to Milan and looking ahead to LA.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.